Today we're here with singer-songwriter Serena Ryder, who is promoting her new album, Is It Okay? Thanks so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
So you've been on tour.
I've pretty much been touring for the last couple years, actually, in general.
So you're kind of down, you know the ropes. You have it all down.
I'm trying to figure it out. I feel like sometimes I feel like I know what I'm doing, and sometimes I feel like I'm absolutely lost in space. You know, it's always changing for me constantly, from, you know, a tour bus to a rental car to a really great hotel to, you know, some sort of Motel 8 or whatever on the side of the road. So it's always this back and forth kind of experience.
So when you go on tour and now that you have a major label behind you, has it been different?
I've noticed a huge difference just in going out and playing shows and having more and more people aware of what I'm doing. I was on indie labels for like 5 years, and signing with Atlantic just kind of made my family a lot bigger.
So when you are writing these songs, what's the process like? Do you pull from your life?
It's not a very conscious or intellectual process for me personally. There's so many different ways to write songs. There's so many different ways to create art. And for me, the best way to create art is to really just center myself in my heart. And as soon as I start thinking in my head, as soon as I start putting myself into my brain, that's when everything collapses for me. I was having this conversation the other day, how true art is created by embracing the artists that have come before us. There's so many people in the world that are trying to be the only ones who have done what they're doing. I think that's where people go wrong.
So who are some of the artists that inspired you to get into music or inspired your craft?
When I was 13 and I started going to my family's record collection, I would take one at a time, thinking that no one would notice when I was stealing them. And then I took the Beatles, like they had maybe about 6 or 7 different Beatles records. And I took the Stones, and all of a sudden when I was listening to the Stones, I hated the Beatles. When I was listening to the Beatles, I hated the Stones. It's like for some reason they don't go together. It's a weird thing. Supertramp, Led Zeppelin became really big for me eventually. I started getting into MC Hammer when I was 13, which was very strange. And then TLC was really big.
You do have a great stage presence. Did you ever get nervous, or did you have stage fright? Or?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like so nervous when I first started singing. Kids would follow me around the schoolyard, and the only way that I would sing for anyone is if they turned around or if I turned around.
That's so cute. I can see little kids on the playground being like, "No, don't look at me."
Yeah.
So for younger kids who are trying to get into the music scene, or trying to even just write songs, or just become more in tap with their own artist inside, what kind of advice could you give them?
The first thing that I would say to kids who are, or to people who are trying to get involved in the arts and music, ask yourself why you're doing it first. If you're doing it because it makes you feel like nothing's ever made you feel, and you feel like you belong in the world and this is your purpose, keep doing it and realize that it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but it's so satisfying, and it's more satisfying than it is a lot of work. You know, when I first started playing guitar and I first started writing songs, I was 13. My family got me a chord book. And I would close my door and I would sit there and just wrap my fingers around this guitar for hours and hours and hours. Within 2 weeks, I'd written 4 songs. I started playing at open stages, you know. I didn't start making money, you know, in music until maybe about, you know, 10 years of practicing and doing it and playing shows. You can go months and months going from hotel room to hotel room and being really broke and eating grilled cheese sandwiches at the diner because you don't have enough money to get something for more than $5. And then, you know, the next week you could play to hundreds of people in a show and have, you know, this one person walk up to you and be like, "You changed my life." It's so important to know that, you know, we're all in it together, and you know, I wouldn't exist without ears, without hearts, and without an audience.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.